Hey everybody, it's Big John back again. Traded the C10 and gave a little to boot. Got a 1965 Chevy C30, 250 inline, SM420, granny 4-speed, dually rear end, flatbed back here. We got some plans for it. I got to relocate a fuel tank. It's got a square body fuel tank mounted back here because the one behind the seat rusted out. I'm gonna try to get it mounted down here under the flatbed. Find something to mount down there for a fuel tank. The other side, I'm gonna mount a underbody toolbox just to get everything off of the flatbed. And the interior doesn't really need anything other than a glove box insert, some gauges, get them fixed up. Speedo cable's broke. Probably mount a tack in it. Picked up a set of brass knuckles at a gun show last weekend. I'll try to make a shift knob out of those. It's kind of a custom touch. Get the heater controls working. They're broke off. It's mounted on a switch underneath. So, under the dash. But, the truck's really solid for its age. Especially in Northeast Indiana. You just don't find them like this. This age. 55 years old, still has cab corners and rockers and all that. Dog's chasing a squirrel. But right now, I was driving it about every day, back and forth to work. When I got it, really all it needed was a battery. Drove it around, kind of a shakedown process. The story on the truck, she sat for 10 years or better, at least 10 years. She was an old IMI truck, stone quarry truck, probably their tool truck or whatever, originally. And then went from there to a farmer. Farmer just used it around his farm, around his yard. Pulling wagons and stuff, and then sat on his farm for at least 10 years, probably longer. A buddy of mine bought it, drug it out of the field, got it running and driving, and then I got it off my buddy. But starter solenoid went bad on it. The other day at work, so instead of replacing the starter, I got a new solenoid, and that's what this video is going to be about today. Let me show you here. There's a difference in Chevy starters. Not much of a difference, but a little bit. So up until 1972 or something like that, they used this style that mounts up to the bell housing of the transmission. And then after that, they went to this style that bolts up to the block. And that's what most common today is, this style. And this is the one off of the truck. You can still buy these, but it's just cheaper to change that solenoid out. Whereas a Ford or a Chrysler would have it on the firewall, and it's real easy to change. You got to drop the starter to change it on a International or a Chevy, and that's what we're doing today. The reason to change this and not just the whole starter is a money thing. It's a $25 solenoid or about a $65, $70 starter, and there's nothing wrong with the starter. This one won't bolt up. This is a newer model with the offset bolt pattern. If it would have had this bolt would have been up here and straight across from the other bolt, it would have went on, because that would mean it's for the 153 tooth flywheel, I think it is. The way this sits, this is for 168 tooth, the newer style, so it won't work. Plus my block's not drilled out for the offset pattern, so that's why that one's not getting used. So pretty standard. These two bolts up here, take those out, this pops right off, the new one pops right in, and it can go back on. There, so I got the old one off. Sorry I didn't do it on camera, but it's literally those two bolts and your ground connection right there to the starter, and then it just turns and pulls off. There's the new one. There's your Bendix that's inside. It comes with new hardware, screw for the ground screw, and there's two of them, and that little copper washer, which would be used if you have the high torque starter. Now we're going to go ahead and get it put on. Alright, we got the new solenoid on, got the starter put back on, got everything wired up. Let's starting to get kind of chilly, a little spit and rain I can feel. So let's do a cold start on this, see if it works. This definitely a cold start. Truck hasn't been started in probably a week and a half. Give it 3 pumps, make sure it's out of gear. There we go. Purring like a kitten. Usually, if you're running it every day, about 3 pumps and she'll start right up. Give it a little choke. Yep. Sounded good. Thanks for watching, everybody.